Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're so thrilled to have back on the show multi-award winning certified guitar player, international guitarist and composer, the one and only Tommy Emmanuel.
Eric Dahl. Good to be back on your show. Thanks for having us.
I'll tell you what, Tommy, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years since the first Accomplice came out. Now, Accomplice Two.
Yeah, and in the middle of that, Tommy songs and COVID.
Right, exactly. But you never slow down.
Well, I try not to. Although, you know, the older I get, the more the better at relaxing I'm getting.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've got to bring up with Accomplice Two. You know, I listened to this album, and it's just amazing to me, Tommy. You know, I love the first one, and obviously it was a hit.
Thank you.
And as was, you know, Tommy's songs as well. But with Accomplice Two, what a unique variety of artists, you know, from Michael McDonald, Sam Bush, Billy Strings,
Little Feat,
Molly Tuttle. I mean,
Sierra.
the list goes. I mean, it's like,
yeah, some beautiful moments on that album, and that's what I hope. That's what I really hope that people get out of the recording is the joy of playing together, and the joy in the choice of song as well. Like with Nitty Gritty, I wanted to do Tennessee Stud because they played on the original with Doc Watson on the Will the Circle Be Unbroken.
Right.
That was a long time ago, but what a significant album it was in the history of Americana music or American music. And so I went back and listened to the original version, and because I can't sing or play like Doc, but I can do my way of doing it, you know. And I got Jeff Hanna to sing the part he sang on there on the original, and I had Jimmy Fadden playing harmonica and all that. So it was a joy to make that stuff, you know.
the whole album to me, you know, and having seen you live in concert and been around you over the years, Tommy, here in Nashville, it felt like a jam session with friends.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it. I mean, you know, and you cover so many different styles of music in this Accomplice Two, to where you've got Jamey Johnson with, you know, country song.
Yeah.
You've got bluegrass.
Daddy Frank. That's a great Merle Haggard song.
I mean, it's like, I mean, it's just, Richard Smith. You know, the song that you and Richard play. It's like, you know, so many people that you've toured with and played with, but also ones that I wouldn't have thought to put you together with.
Right, like Michael McDonald. Yeah.
Which sounds amazing. You know, and it's funny too, because listening to that with you and Michael reminded me of back in the early days when you were in your rock band days back in Australia.
Totally. Well, I used to listen to a lot of, you know, Doobie Brothers and then Michael McDonald's solo albums and stuff. And I've always loved his writing, his playing, his singing, of course. And during COVID, Michael was in lockdown like the rest of us. And our managers put us in touch, and so he was able to email me some demos, and said choose one of these kind of things. So he sent me 3 songs, and they were all good, but the one that really touched me was Somebody Like You, you know, because it's one of those songs. Everything is explained so simply, and it has this beautiful chord structure. And I thought, you know, his vocal on the track that he sent me was the final one. And so what I did, because I'm the producer, I kept the little drum machine thing, his piano and his voice, and I took it to the studio, and then I put real drums with me playing drums and real bass, and I put some like electric guitar effects type something around to create like a keyboard sound. And then I put backing vocals on, and then the last thing first of all, I tried some kind of slightly dirty electric guitar, but it was too heavy for the track.
Gotcha.
So I had to abandon that idea, and I thought, well, I just need to be able to get myself onto that track without getting in his way, you know, because it's a duet.
Right.
So I chose nylon string guitar.
I could tell.
Yeah,
and it really fits perfectly because, you know, it creates like a nice nylon string soft bed for his voice.
Yeah.
I thought it just complements each other.
Yeah, and because his piano playing is so beautiful too. And when I mixed the track, I had the piano real wide and the voice right here, and then my guitar kind of came in and out, you know? So it was never intrusive, but always trying to complement what the vocal was doing.
So in essence, though, you're not putting the band Dragon back together, though?
Not this week, no. But you know, I got together with some of the guys when I went to Australia this year, and a couple of weeks ago I played on a record, and Don Perry was the drummer from Jethro Tull, who was the drummer in Dragon. Him and I worked together on this track, and I felt like it was old home week, you know.
Well, you had great hair back then, like the pictures and everything with the band. Yeah. You had the rock and roll hair going.
Back when I had hair and teeth, I always say that.
But also, you know, to me, it's not lost on me, Tommy, to where, you know, you really took a right turn, you know, with your music when you decided to
go solo.
To go solo, and also to follow in the footsteps of Chet Atkins.
Well, yeah.
And you know, and I would say, you know, you've gone in your own direction. I think you've broadened it, but also, you know, from a letter, becoming friends with Chet.
Yeah.
And then to living with Chet here in Nashville.
Yeah, and recording together. I mean, it was like, I still think about that and think, did that really happen? You know, it was like a miracle, you know. But, you know, Chet always, his thing was how good is the song, you know. Without a good song, it doesn't matter how good you play.
Right.
If you haven't got a good song to play, no one really cares, you know. And so, you know, my songwriting and my style needed to kind of evolve as my sound, you know. And the other thing was, I mean, back in the 80s and 90s when I had my band, I was playing mostly electric and then some acoustic. And in the show, I would send the band off and play a couple of pieces on my own, just to break it up kind of thing. And every night I'm out signing autographs and people would say, we really love the show, we love the band, but the best part was when you played on your own. And I was like, I had to listen to that, you know?
But I think it also harkens back to when, you know, you and your brother as kids were performing, you know, on TV and doing your shows together. And you know, I think that's where you really started forging being the entertainer you are today. Because seeing you today, you know, and once again, I got to brag on you, you know, besides being a Kentucky Colonel, you know, and all of the other great awards, you know, Order of Australia and all these things.
Thank you.
But you really launched this thing to where making the guitar more percussive. Using it as and because now you see all these young kids coming out, I'm like,
they're all doing that. Yeah, well, they're doing stuff much more complicated
but
than,
it's so
than
neat to me. It's not lost on me, and I'm sure not lost on our viewers and your fans, that you really started off so much of this
back in the 70s.
Yeah, because I remember, you know, one of the early interviews, you came in and you had glued back on part of your guitar on your Maiden because you'd hit it so hard it went flying off, and you're like,
it was right here. I was banging away on it and it went pow and flew up in the air. That's the guitar. If you want to see that guitar, it's in the Musicians Hall of Fame here in Nashville.
I just saw it.
Get down there.
Yeah, I just saw it not long ago and I was like going, I know that guitar.
Yeah, and you can see the hole right here.
Yeah, because you handed it to me and showed me. But how does that feel, Tommy, today, to see some of these young people, you know, guys and gals that are like following in your footsteps now, as you did in Chet's, with that style of music?
It's part of the overall big picture, isn't it? You know, I have to show up and do my best because I'm part of the link. I'm one of the links in of the many links in the chain. You know, and I've got to pull my weight. And I've also, it's always been my desire that young people can see what I've done, where I've come from, and if you can do that, then anything's possible, you know. And I'm not like, you know, I didn't have any special training, I didn't have any special education, or all that stuff, you know. I'm a very ordinary guy, but I have a love for playing for people that drives me stronger than anything, you know, and that I believe that's why I'm here. I found my purpose in life a long time ago.
Well, and when you're on stage too, and having seen you multiple times, you know, on tour, playing live, I mean, it just feels like pure joy.
It
You
is.
know, when you're up there, it's besides the music, and certainly a fan of your playing, Tommy, but it's like it's riveting because you are having so much fun that anybody in the audience, it's infectious. It's like
that's
you're
good.
just sharing joy.
Yeah. Well, what I try to do, people don't realize this, but I'm being very cunning, and I'm distracting them and disarming them with other things aside from my playing. That all of a sudden their worries, their woes, whatever they're thinking of,
Right.
you know, freedom from concern is what they need, you know, and it's a beautiful phrase, and I stole it from Jim Carrey. You know, he's in charge of freedom from concern when he's being Jim Carrey, and I try to do the same thing. When you come to my show, all of a sudden you realize you're not thinking about all the stuff you've been thinking about.
Right.
You're just caught up in this moment, and then it's over, and it's like, I want this feeling again. Thank God for that.
Well, I think that's why your music has become even more popular. I remember early on when we had you on the show years ago, and you were like, well, I'd like to have a hit like, you know, Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake. It seems to me, Tommy, that within the last 3 to 5 years, your popularity has increased multiple. You were always huge international.
Yeah.
But it seems like even in the United States now, you sell out shows wherever you go.
Well, that's a great blessing, and it's a result of a lot of people doing a lot of hard work. You know, I have a great team of people around me. I have a great agent, great management, and all that, and people like you who you know, champion my cause, and also you have one of the greatest tools, and that is word of mouth.
Right.
You know, you like the other night I played in Peekskill, New York, and I've never played in Peekskill. And my very first thought of the day was, I've never played here. I've got to make a good impression. Tonight's, it's the first time, it's like the first time all over again. And I went out there and just poured it out as much as I could. And Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams are opening for me, and they were like, boy, you really gave it hell out there. And I said, I had to. I want to make a good impression.
Right.
You know?
And the song you did with them is amazing also.
Oh, yeah. 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 Everybody loves you.
It's so much fun. It's
Oh,
kind of
great.
rollicking.
Yeah. Well, actually, when we're playing that song live,
Yeah.
Larry's playing all the intricate parts,
Yeah.
and I'm actually doing like a
Right. You're playing,
like a jug band in the
Exactly.
background. You know? Yeah.
but it's so much fun to listen to. And I was going to bring this up also with Accomplice Two, just as Accomplice the first one did so well. Are you just going to have guests just popping up all over the place? Because
Well,
like when I saw you at the Ryman years ago,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously John Knowles shows up, and then Steve
Warner.
Warner.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, you've got 3 certified guitar players, which, as you and I know, is the term, the bequeath that Chet Atkins would give,
Yeah.
you know, a chosen few.
Yeah.
And you have that title.
Well, this time, last time I played the Ryman, I had Jorma Kaukonen, and Jorma and I did a tune together on this album. This tour has been with Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams.
Amazing.
And I love having those guys on the road. I had Richard for quite a few dates. Richard's coming to Europe and Poland and that with me later in the year.
Incredible.
And Mike Dawes and, you know, Molly Tuttle's going to be touring England with me in
You and Molly
January.
sound so good on this album.
You can't. How can you not sound good with Molly Tuttle?
Oh my gosh.
She's unbelievable.
And, you know, and you said it took days to get that recording right.
Yeah, about an hour. We're finished. Yeah. Well, it's one of those songs. She can play it on her own, you know. So
But you guys sound
she's
so
actually
good
giving
together.
me solos. So, and I'm trying to sing the harmony part, you know.
It's just amazing. It just the whole album is fun, and obviously it's available on vinyl also. And you said that the vinyl is outselling everything else.
Everything else, yeah. It's amazing. Flying. We can't get enough vinyl, you know.
Well, and I got what you did with the album image too, because with Accomplice 2, there's like 2 Tommies on the cover.
Exactly. See, you can't fool this guy in anything.
I really like the. I mean, the imagery though is great.
Thank you.
What does it feel like now when you go back to Australia, and with family and friends, and they have your guitars in museums.
All right.
And you are
Kind of strange, isn't it?
because you were joking. It's like, and I didn't know if they've got, you know, like a Tommy World, if it's going to be kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese thing or whatever, to where, you know, it's like all things Tommy Emmanuel.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a health issue like Chuck E. Cheese. Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, but I mean, but with your guitar, I mean, you know, because you said your telly's down there now.
My old Telecaster and the first one of these from the album only is in the museum. There's a guitar museum in the city of Tamworth, which is the country music capital of Australia. Right? It's the Nashville of Australia. And so they have a guitar museum there. So there's everybody's guitars, all the old guys who came before us, all their guitars. And so my two main guitars, which kind of were the two instruments that kind of changed the course of musical history in Australia. You know?
Right. Does that feel odd for you when you go back now and you're acknowledged as that in Australia?
I never really think about it, you know. I'm always on to the next thing. You know,
I know you are.
Yeah.
But what would the 4-year-old Tommy that started playing with his mom feel about your career now on how far? I mean, it's like, honestly, I don't think I can pick up a guitar magazine like every few issues that doesn't have you on the cover.
Well, and
you're always
all
getting
that stuff
acoustic
is like,
guitar awards and everything like this,
right.
Tommy.
Well, awards don't feed your family, but they are nice. It's nice to be acknowledged and all that stuff. And I take it all with a grain of salt when people say, you know, the top 100 guitar players in the world and you're not on there. Big deal. Who cares? You know, but you know, it means a lot to some people. You know, the fact that people keep coming back and bringing their friends is what matters most to me.
Does it strike you now also like with the multi-generational? Because now it's like, you know, before, you know, when you were up and coming here in Nashville and you were playing with all these top musicians, as you continue to do now, and now you're bringing up younger musicians with you. What does it feel like when you look into your audience, sold out, and you see people with their children and grandchildren out there?
Oh, isn't that a wonderful thing? Because, you know, I used to have a hat that had my name on the front, and on the back it said, "Music brings people together." And that's really what my whole thing is about. You know, music, if you can find something to I remember one night I was incredibly moved. I met this father and son, and they were so lovely and everything. And the father said to me in front of his son, he said, "We don't agree on anything. We're always in disagreement, but we agree on this. And this is why we're here together." You know, so
how amazing is that? So it's like bringing a family together through your music.
It's real life, you know.
And then also you've got your camp is going to be in Australia next year.
That's right. March next year, I'll be outside of the city of Melbourne, and at a beautiful resort way out in the bush.
Everybody always enjoys your camps. I know that sells out. Also, you're playing a tiny little blues festival.
Yeah, the Byron Bay Blues Festival next year.
The biggest.
The biggest. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
I mean, it's just, you keep upping it a notch all the time.
You got to, yeah.
It's amazing. Well, and I also wanted to bring up with your coffee, Acoustic Coffee Company, that you have the CGP Fuel.
Fuel, yeah.
Tommy Emmanuel's blend. Yeah, and so then the proceeds from this go to Guitars for Vets, which I know is...
Guitars for Vets, which I'm an ambassador for. And
right.
Guitar for Vets is a great organization. More than 2,000 volunteer guitar teachers right across America, Canada, and Australia, and England, giving vets who need something good to get into in their life. And of course, the guitar, this, ladies and gentlemen, is a weapon of mass construction. Okay, it's a beautiful thing to get dedicated to, and so we use that for vets to be able to get together, get a guitar for free, right. A lesson every week for free, and a chance to be together. You know, because the bottom line is, you know, our world is, we're all getting more isolated all the time. And what we really need is to be in the herd. We need to be a herd, and we need to be in the middle of the herd, because that's where the real life, real love, and real protection is, and the real care is. So that's what this is really all about. Guitars for Vets do great work.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, I was moved by it, and so I don't donate instruments to them.
Right,
And
thank you.
we've got a local chapter here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And the powerful part to me, Tommy, is when you see the vets with their certificate from
Yeah.
taking the guitar course, and then they get a guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels good because I know, you know, for yourself and for me, you know, guitar has always been incredible therapy in the good times
Oh,
and the
totally.
bad times. And I think if it can be that for our veterans too, that have served us and protected our countries.
Totally. Yeah. I'm enjoying a beautiful life. I'm free, you know, and that's come at quite a price, you know. So this is a little small way, really, of being able to give back. You know.
And you're an ambassador for them.
Well, I try to be.
Well, I've got to put you on the spot for this one, Tommy. I've got you in studio. Accomplice 3.
No.
Come on.
No.
You're not going to do a third one?
Well, Michael Jackson's gone. No.
I'm just thinking, I mean, every time, you know, when I was listening to the album, and once again, it's like, it's so needs to be on vinyl. And I'm glad it's doing so well with that. But to me, you know, there are so many other artists. I'm sure you have people clamoring to be on albums with you.
I haven't heard much clamoring. I haven't heard any clamoring lately. But you know, I'll get there.
There's not a bad track on there.
No, of course not.
There's no weak ones.
There better not be.
And you produced it all.
It's my vision. It's, you know, that's why people say, well, why did you call it Tommy Song? So, you know, I said, well, I wrote all the songs. I played it. I produced it. I own the label. I can call it whatever I like. You know, but the truth is, I was inspired by Jerry Reed's song Reedology.
Yep.
Because when you hear that song, you know, oh, that's Jerry Reed. No one writes like that. No one plays like that. That's Reedology. You know what I mean? What he's doing. So I was trying to find a way of saying, these are Tommy songs. I wrote them. They sound like me, kind of thing. You know.
Well, and to me, knowing your history too, Tommy, you know, from being here in Nashville and being such, you know, an integral part of the music scene here in Nashville and Australia and the world, but it's like all of the greats that you rubbed shoulders with, you know, while you were coming up through, such as Chet Atkins that, you know, took you under his wing, and now it seems like you are doing the same.
Well, you got to pay it forward. You know, my responsibility is to hand it on. I don't own it. I'm lucky where I am. You know, I'm always trying to find something worth stealing from somebody, you know, and then make it mine, and then I hand it on to someone else. And I always encourage young people, you know, like, take everything I'm doing and make it yours.
Right.
You know, because that's what I did, you know. And if you want to be a writer or an arranger, listen to people who do it well and steal what you can.
Right.
You know.
And you keep getting better.
Well, you've got to.
Right.
You know. What's the point, you know, if you're not moving forward?
Well, it's a testament. Well, and also, obviously, you're still playing your Maton guitar, signature model. You know.
This is, I've had this one for about 9 months now.
Really?
So
it's starting to break in a little bit.
it's
got your sound effects.
It's got some.
You know, there's no hole on top yet.
No, it's really strong up here.
Are they reinforcing it for you?
I think Andy Allen, who made this guitar, I think he kind of found a way of making this area a little stronger, because that's where I hit with the. That's where I hit with the brush up here. You know?
I would just sit and listen to you do that, Tommy. That's amazing.
Well, and plus you get these sounds. You get like 3 drums here. 1, 2, boom, 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 and then you get the.
You're a one-man orchestra. You really are. So you're still playing the Maton
See
guitars?
that? I'm high on this.
So you still got the Maton guitars. Are you still playing the AER amplifiers too?
No, I'm playing Udo Rosner's new amp called Di Capo. AER, great products. I still use AER preamp.
Right.
I have my AER amps at home.
Yeah.
But Udo has come out with this new amp that is just phenomenal.
Wow.
So that's what I'm using.
That's incredible. So that's what we will see and hear at
That's
your
what
own
you'll
tour.
hear. Yeah.
With all of your sold-out shows.
I hope so.
Well, I want to make sure for our viewers, Tommy, for your website, for the tour, to get this on vinyl, to get a signed copy. I'm sure you got some cool other merch too.
There's lots of merch. Yeah, if you go to my website, tommyemmanuel.com, and yeah, you can go shopping there. There's everything you'll ever need.
With Accomplice Two.
And well, there's the vinyl, there's the T-shirt, there's the CD, and well, you can download all the videos and stuff as well.
It's such an incredible album, Tommy.
Thank you.
I mean, just with you, it's like a great pairing. You know what I mean? It's like with I don't know how you come up with this, with the songs and with the artist.
That's the thing. First of all, you got to find the artist who's willing to do it. Then you got to find the right song,
right?
Where they get a feature, and you, the artist, can own the track as well. You know, so like with Raul Malo.
I was just going to bring that up.
From the Mavericks. He said, you know, what should we do? And I said, what do you like singing? And he said, I like Sam Cooke songs. I said, choose 3 and send them to me. And when I saw Faraway Places, I went, oh, that one, yeah. So,
well, and you guys had already jammed together on a cruise ship doing.
Yeah, yeah. He came up to me and said, you want to do Moon River tonight? So he just sang it. In fact, it was unrehearsed.
Wow.
We just did it live because he knew he could trust me, and that's a wonderful place to be.
Your life is a story, Tommy. It really, I mean, somebody's got to start working on your book now.
Yeah, that's right. That'll take 5 minutes. I haven't done anything yet.
Museum, camps, albums, awards and awards and awards, but also the great music, which I know is at your heart, and also entertaining people.
That's it.
Live.
Yeah.
And can't wait to see you're going to have as guests on your next shows.
Thanks.
Well, be sure and get your own copy. Accomplice 2 is out, and however you consume music, add it to your playlist. I personally think you need it on vinyl. It's one of those that you're just going to want to put it on and listen to every song, but also go see Tommy Emmanuel live. You're never going to regret it. Tommy, thanks for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of a Bobby Bones Show.